I got the bloodlust. Me too. I want to kill. Let's kill.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to The Bloodlust. This is your go-to podcast for classy broads talking horror since 2014. This is episode 251 of the program. Tonight we are talking about found footage film Late Night with the Devil.
Kind of found footage.
Lost episode.
Sure.
I don't know. However you want to say it. Mockumentary.
Yeah. It wavers.
It sure does. I'm Amy, your fearless leader. Joined as always by my lovely and talented co-host Jamie. Hello, friend.
Howdy.
Spring has sprung.
Oh yeah, my allergies are telling me that much.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Everything's pretty and green where we live. It's very nice.
It is. I love it.
For everyone but Jamie.
Hey, I love the green. It's beautiful. I can't help it that, like, my body repels it.
Yeah.
I get shots for it, so they help.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Mm-hmm.
It's been raining a lot here. I got my garden started. Feeling good about that. And I got a whole bunch of extra seeds I got to plant. Of herbs and spices.
I've got some wild garlic in my backyard.
Ooh,
I must have thrown some bulbs out there. I think I remember that last year. But, like, they're coming up. Oh, I can't. It's almost garlic-scape season, and that's my favorite.
They have those over by the lake by your house, right?
Yep. I go down to the beach, and I cut a bunch of those off, and, I put them in everything.
We love us some garlic.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start, boss.
No, boss loves it, too. He gets it.
Kay put croutons in our salad. Was that last night? No, the night before. He was just staring at me drooling.
I can't be trusted with... I'm like boss. I can't be trusted with croutons. I never buy them. I want to eat an entire bag of them.
Motherfucker loves bread. He loves bread.
Same. Thanks. Yeah, boss. You and I. Same. Love bread.
Never seen a dog get that excited about bread before.
If it's crunchy, garlicky bread, oh, shut your mouth.
Yeah. He loves it. I don't care for croutons.
I never have them because I cannot have them. I always say no to the croutons. Cause
that's like wheat thins for me. Wheat thins. I could eat a whole box in one sitting.
No. Not me. Triscuits. Ooh, yeah.
Triscuits, yes. Also, yes.
I'll fuck up some Triscuits.
Mm-hmm. I'll take a Triscuit or a wheat thin over a chip any day.
Yeah, same.
I'm not a chip person.
Same.
Anyway, this is not a podcast about snacks or food. Or carbs, or garlic. It is a podcast about movies.
Podcast about garlic. If anyone has one, please let me know.
I'm sure there's a garlic podcast.
Oh, I love them.
Anyway, we're talking about horror movies. Tonight, we're talking about a horror movie set in the 1970s. And set on a television show. So a roundtable question tonight is, what are some shows that scared you when you were a child? Jamie, do you have some good ones or some bad ones? We'll see what they are.
Okay, so this is where my memory might be deceiving me and it might not be as great. I don't know if it was this show in particular, but I know this show gave me the creeps as a child. But one in particular, it may have just actually been a news story and not part of the show. But anyways, so there was this show when I was younger. Many of you may know it, and it was called Rescue 911.
Oh, I remember that show. It was on Fox, I think.
It was. And early me, I mean, this is probably a show that pushed forward my love of true crime stuff, or showed that I was always destined to love true crime. I loved Rescue 911. And so I don't know if this story that I recall in particular was part of it, but it's one that has been ingrained in my brain and hit me super hard. But it's the story of baby Jessica who fell in the well.
I remember her. I remember the TV movie made about it.
Okay. I don't even remember that, but I remember my parents, or at least my mom, watching the news about it, and it being it was obviously before the 24-hour news cycle. But in my memory, in my youth brain, I remember it being on all the time and feeling the intensity and the fear of this young child stuck at the bottom of a well, and will they get her out, and is she going to die? And that being broadcast to the entire world as I knew it as a kid, but like who knows how much that was broadcast. But like those types of shows, like it was very much true crimey, and it was like true stories, obviously the true crime part, but like those scared me as a kid in a way that like also excited me. So I have to think that sort of spurned my like love of this genre and the true crime genre in general. But that's one that is maybe one of my earliest memories, especially the baby Jessica in the well. Like and Rescue 911 had like a really great intro.
I don't remember it.
From what I can recall, and like a really great like musical intro. And I remember I have she's like a second cousin, her husband. He was a sheriff in my area of Michigan, and he was on an episode of Rescue 911. And I remember that was like a big deal in my family that he was going to be on that. And it was something having to do with a murder. And I remember thinking like that was so fucking cool. Like that like I had this connection to somebody who was like part of a story on Rescue 911. But like I always found that show kind of like intriguing but scary because of the realness of it.
The realness.
Yeah. That's one for me.
I'm old enough that I remember the Challenger blowing up on television.
Okay.
And watching that in school.
Oof.
I was in kindergarten, and that was very scary.
Sure.
I also remember being maybe littler than that. I'm not sure. Maybe around the same age, and hearing somebody on a news show talk about AIDS. And it was very early, and they were talking about it like it was this mysterious and very scary and very deadly, which it was.
Sure.
But nobody really had heard of it at this point. And I remember hearing about it on television and getting really scared and thinking it was going to like end the world. And I misheard it as eggs and kept thinking that's what it was called. And for a long time I was scared of not the actual eggs, but this mysterious disease that was going to wipe out humanity called AIDS.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, it's crazy to think that like the shit that we heard as kids, that like we didn't understand the context of or the story of, but like hit us in a way in our psyche that just sort of like rooted in.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like sat there.
And look, my fear was not unfounded.
No, of course not. And I'm scared of wells to this day. I mean, I'm not. But I'm scared of children.
People, cover your wells, for God's sakes. Cover your damn wells. I also was very scared of the Twilight Zone series when I was little. The 80s version, which we've talked about on the show before. Mm-hmm. There was a particular episode called The Shadow Man, and it was about this thing that would come out from under this kid's bed every night. And he would say, "I am the Shadow Man, and I will never harm the person under whose bed I live." And so he would go out and like do his business and then come back under the bed, and he was just like a moving shadow. And that one scared me. And at the end, there's this fun twist where he sees the Shadow Man out in the park, and he's like, "Oh, it's the Shadow Man." And the Shadow Man gets him, and he's like, "I thought you said you never hurt me." And he says, "I am a Shadow Man from under someone else's bed."
Aw, shit. I love how when you said, like, he goes out and does his business, I just thought of it as, like, he went out to poop.
Yeah, well.
2 little Shadow Man poops.
I guess I didn't know what he was out there doing, but I think people
enough.
on the show were disappearing, so he was probably doing his business and killing people.
Yep.
I was also scared of... Mm-hmm. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, I got scared of some early episodes of X-Files when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. One, I loved the intro. I found the intro very creepy, even though it's super simple and kind of cheesy, but like...
Cheesy now.
Now, in hindsight. The music of it was creepy, and I loved it, but there were some early episodes that really gave me the creeps. And same with, like, anyone in my era who watched Are You Afraid of the Dark? Mm-hmm. There were some episodes of that got me, and the intro of that in particular I found incredibly unsettling. The music.
I always watched it. I very rarely liked it.
Oh, I did. Like the one where like the girl like went in the mirror or went into like the pinball machine. There were just some like, it was just very cool concepts. I was at the right age for that stuff to hit me.
I was more interested in Ren and Stimpy at that time.
I never got into Ren and Stimpy.
I was obsessed with Ren and Stimpy.
You would be.
I had a Ren and Stimpy poster in my bedroom all through high school.
Shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
I was also mysteriously afraid of the Hardy Boys because it would come on after Little House on the Prairie, and the theme song scared me.
Okay.
I never watched the show because of that. It might be good. I don't know.
You're silly.
I'm stupid.
No, we're all stupid. Kids are stupid.
Yeah.
Kids are stupid. What they're afraid of is silly. It just hits differently. Like what hits your brain in a way that's like, hey, you should be scared of this is different when you're a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. Like I always wish I could sort of like harken back to that.
Get back those initial.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Wish I could get scared like I used to.
We all do.
Listeners, what scared you when you were a child? I have a feeling a lot of our listeners are probably younger than us. So what was scary that we missed? Courage the Cowardly Dog had some creepy stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Adventure Time, I've watched episodes of that where, like...
Really?
Maybe not even scary, but, like, if you were on something, you'd be like, what is going on? Yeah, definitely. Courage the Cowardly Dog, I hear, brought up a lot. Or, like, what is it? Large Marge in
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. That's one that's often brought up.
I guess I was a little bit scared of Return to Oz when I was a child, of the Wheelers and the
Same here.
And Mombi. But that wasn't a TV show.
No, but when Canadian Bakey was here last year visiting, we watched Return to Oz, and she got it.
She hadn't seen it?
No, she'd never seen it before.
Oh,
and
man,
she got
so
the weirdness of it.
Good.
And I don't know that she truly understood the love of the lunchbox tree.
Well,
but
how can you not?
Still have such a fondness for that. The sound of it.
Just the sound when she picks it off the tree.
It's something special. It really is.
It lives in my memory forever.
Same here. And like, yeah, the ripeness of it and the, like taking the
little
lid
sandwich
off and,
out
like,
in the paper.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everything about that. I love that so much more than the first one.
Yeah, I guess I do too, even though I watched the first one literally every day as a child.
Yeah, I never did, but as soon as I saw Return to Oz, like I knew I loved it.
It's a great one.
It's so fucking weird. It's so weird. Seeing the faces in the rocks.
Yeah,
like,
I love that. All the claymation.
Oh, yeah. And the heads. Mombi's castle.
Mm-hmm. And Mombi's dress. I love Mombi's outfits.
Oh, yeah. That's a great movie.
Yes, it is. And very dark for children.
Yep. Loved it.
Very, very dark.
Again, another sign that I was destined to just really like dark shit.
Another sign that we're creeps.
Yeah.
All right, let's start talking about Late Night with the Devil, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. Would you give us the stats on this fine film?
Yes. It is rated R. It has a runtime of 1 hour, 33 minutes. It's written and directed by, I'm assuming, brothers.
Yep.
Cameron and Colin Cairns. It stars David Dastmalchian, Laura Gordon, and Ian Bliss. Premiered at South by Southwest May 10th, 2023. Released in theaters March 22nd, 2024 this year. Rotten Tomatoes says 97% critics say it's fresh. 81% of audiences say it's fresh.
Thank you. Our buddy Andrew was saying that the Shudder crowd is not liking it as much as the theater crowd, so it might have been a better theater experience than a Shudder experience. Okay. Although I would argue that perhaps you can either pretend when you're in the theater that you're in the studio audience of this talk show, or you can pretend at home that you're the viewing audience watching it on television because it was a live broadcast. So I don't think it takes much away watching it at home. I don't
think so either.
Although it is still showing a few places, I saw when I looked up stats for it today, that it's still in the theaters. So you could possibly still find out for yourself. And what is this about? This is about a show called Night Owls with Jack Delroy. Jack Delroy is David Dastmalchian. We just realized that is how you pronounce his name.
Dastmalchian, yes.
Dastmalchian. We were saying the CH like a K, but it's a ch. And now you know. So, Night Owls with Jack Delroy is the name of this show. It's like second to Johnny Carson and always has been.
Yes.
And they attempt to grab big ratings during Sweeps Week with a paranormal-themed Halloween episode, including a medium and a magician who now is a skeptic who debunks things, and then a parapsychologist with her charge who is allegedly possessed by a demon and who was the only survivor of a cult massacre. So there's our setup.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on here, I would say. They're taking advantage of a lot of things that we as an audience are familiar with that were going on in the 1970s. You know, all of the terrible imagery on the TV news, the Vietnam War. There are a lot of riots. There's the beginning of the idea of serial killers, the Mansons.
Satanic panic.
Yeah, Anton LaVey, who I think that the cult leader in this was probably based on in the Church of Satan. That began in the late 60s and into the 70s. He was very popular. This also coincides with Amityville. The Omen and The Exorcist were huge at this time. UCLA was investigating paranormal activity. The Enfield Poltergeist was the very same year.
It's so like a hot year.
It was a hot time for this kind of thing. It's the 70s is just a perfect era for this, I would say. There's a lot of moral confusion, you could call it.
Sure.
So this show is taking advantage of that. And our guy is kind of a Dick Cavett, kind of Johnny Carson type guy, but obviously this is like the low rent version is his show. And he just lost his wife the year before. And we know that he participates in a thing at the Grove, which is based on the Bohemian Grove in California, which was made up of lots of famous people, including U.S. presidents, who did weird occult rituals.
Super interested in.
There's pictures you can find of them dressed up. Owls were a big thing for them.
I've always found that like incredibly fascinating. Because it's so bananas.
It is. It's cuckoo bananas.
Yeah. I love that sort of like, I don't know, secret club culty shit.
I do too. I wish they were more creepy once you find out more about them than they usually end up being. But
yeah,
I guess if they really are super creepy and weird, we wouldn't even know about them.
I mean, like, yeah, there are owl masks involved in this one. Like, that alone is kind of like, all right, you guys are into some weird stuff.
That's straight from Bohemian Grove. That's a thing that they did.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So also this is like a found footage movie. Although how closely they hew to that is something that we'll probably discuss. And right now this is streaming on Shudder and AMC Plus. So Jamie, what'd you think of this?
What I think? I liked this. I thought it was a fun watch. I thought it had its faults. I think it was sort of a quote unquote found footage movie that maybe broke some of its own rules.
Sure did.
At some times, so it's just kind of hard to follow that part of it. But like, I loved how it looked. I loved how much they leaned into and sort of embraced the like 70s feel of things, and it very much felt like a 70s production, like a slice of 70s life. I loved that. I think David Dastmalchian is awesome.
I thought he was great, yeah.
Almost everything I see him in, I like his character, and whatever he is doing, I think he's incredibly solid in what he does, and I love that he's starting to do more horror stuff, and that it seems like that's kind of like the trajectory that he's on right now. And
he also seems to be a big horror fan.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I appreciate that that's like what he's about, and that's kind of like what he's digging into. I love that. I want to see him more as like horror leading man, like
Patrick
horror
Wilson
movies. Yeah. Yep. I love that. And speaking of Patrick Wilson, they even like in this movie have a little dig at the Warrens, which I appreciated and thought was very funny. While this movie had its faults, like, I will say that even though I didn't necessarily find it scary overall, like it wasn't one that made me feel scared. There were some visuals that I thought were pretty amazing and like really kind of like took me off guard. I didn't expect them and I loved them. Like, especially there's a certain point in the movie where like something happens, an event happens, and like from that point on, like the movie sort of takes off. And and I loved that. So it may have been a little slow for me in the beginning, but I didn't hate that because they sort of were leaning into this like talk show vibe, and like they're trying to, you know, it's during the sweep, so they're just trying to make like an interesting show. And so I understand that the action can't just be like from the get-go and nonstop. Like there's got to be a build to it. And I liked that. The movie asked a lot of the viewers because it's not totally found footage. It's not totally a mockumentary, even though that's kind of like how it starts. It has this sort of voiceover that's explaining like the sort of, I don't know, the career trajectory of Jack Delroy and like where he's been and like how he got to this point and like why he's needing to like why he got to this and like what happened and
setting us up for a major twist that is, if you're paying attention, very simple to figure out from the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, so it's very explanation dump and info dump, but
very
like,
much
and I love a mockumentary, but I don't know that they needed to give you that much from the beginning. I think they could have pulled back from that a little bit, and it still would have been successful and interesting, and people would have watched it. I think David Dastmalchian was like awesome in this.
Yeah.
That's why I absolutely want to see him in anything else, pretty much. And I think for the most part, like everyone who was in this was interesting.
I think the performances were very good.
Yeah, I think I was very intrigued by like the introduction and mention of the Bohemian Grove stuff because I have looked into that before and I find that like incredibly bizarre and fascinating. So the idea that character Jack is a part of that and is ingrained with that and sort of intertwined with that lifestyle and what he may or may not have done in order to keep his show on the air and keep it successful and what that might have meant to the people around him. And you kind of see that later on, obviously, but like I thought that was very interesting. And I thought that was a very neat way of sort of pulling in those sort of ideas of like this sort of like, you know, selling your soul to the devil sort of deal and like, or making a deal with the devil and what that sacrifice looks like in order to maintain something as simple as just like keeping your show on the air and like keeping it successful and like where someone might think that's such an easy thing that like, I just want to keep this going. So I'm just like, I may not believe it necessarily, but this group that I'm a part of believes it so much. So I'm going to take part in this ritual and maybe hope for the best. But like, then things start to happen and you might sort of be like waffling on being a skeptic, but also like being a believer because you're seeing things happen and you're like, is this actually like a result of this? Or is it just coincidence? But you also like are kind of a skeptic still. And I think that plays out very nicely as the show goes on and he's bringing on these guests. I think the first guest was very interesting. What was his?
Christou.
Yeah, Christou. I thought that guest was like very interesting because I don't know if you noticed, but like he obviously started, in my opinion, like very much as a charlatan. He had this sort of like fake accent and was like, you know, oh, I sense like this person's in the room. And like, it was a very generic and what you would expect. Like
from a cult leader.
Exactly. Like someone's going to, he was like a psychic. And so someone's going to believe that. And someone in the audience is going to be like, oh, I know someone like this. And they say a name that's vaguely familiar. And he's like, yes, of course. That's what I'm saying instead. But like, as it goes on, there seems to be a moment where like he actually does sort of have a connection and like a weird sort of like psychic like connection with the other world. And you hear him essentially like drop his accent and drop the act. And that was one of the parts where like, it wasn't necessarily scary, but it made me feel a little unnerved where you like feel the believability of that, where it was just a character that maybe kind of realized like, okay, I've maybe tapped into something I'm not ready for, and like this
you could tell it was disturbing him.
Exactly, like this isn't what I asked for. And then what you see and learn after that is like it confirms all of that.
Right.
And so I think there are a lot of positives to this and like a lot of solid parts. I don't know that I think as a whole it's like completely successful. I think it has some areas that could have been done better, and in some parts where, like I said, like it doesn't follow its own rules that it set forth in the beginning, and it sort of takes away from it. But I had fun watching it. I thought it was entertaining. I liked the visuals a lot, and I liked the acting enough and the characters enough that like I was in it from the beginning and like the end. So it's one that I would absolutely recommend. Do I think it's like the best sort of movie like this? Like that's kind of a found footage, like I don't know, like newscast show sort of movie. Like no, I think there are better out there that you could watch. Like what's that like? Shit, what's that like kind of Britishy one?
You talking about Ghostwatch?
Yeah.
Ghostwatch is great.
Like, I love Ghostwatch.
This had to have been partially modeled after Ghostwatch.
I mean, you can't watch... If you've seen Ghostwatch, you cannot watch this and not think of that movie because I think it pulls a lot from that. But Ghostwatch is incredibly successful, in my opinion. Like,
absolutely. Sorry, boss's tail's wagging against the chair.
That's fine. But, like, this movie made me think of that. And largely because I think it pulled from it a lot. But, like... So I think there are movies that do this sort of theme and this idea more successfully, but like, I liked this. I think it's worth watching. I think the acting is great. I think, like I said, there are some visuals towards the end once like shit kicks off and goes forward towards the end, like that are visually awesome. Like I was all in for like, there's one particular part was like, I love what I'm seeing right now. Like,
I'm excited to talk about that after the spoiler break.
Yeah. So I think it's a great movie. I think it's totally worth watching. I recommend it. Is it perfect? No. Is it the best? Does it deserve the hype that I've seen online? Probably not. But it's a good watch. It's interesting and it's fun.
Yeah. What do you think you want to rate it?
I would probably rate this like a 3.5.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to rate it too. It was going to be a 3, but I realized I rated Immaculate and The First Omen a 3, and this is much better than those.
I never remember all my ratings, but like this is a very happy, like enjoyable 3.5.
Yes. I don't know if I liked it quite as much as you. There were a lot of things I would have changed, I think. I didn't like that preamble info dump. Although I do love the format. I think where it's the strongest is in its ideas.
Yeah.
Where it shines, I think, is attention to period detail.
Yes.
The performances, and a great idea. And making use of, like I said, a really perfect time period for this to have come out. Because TV did feel kind of dangerous at that time. You felt like you could see something maybe actually transgressive before it gets cut.
Yeah.
I also think it does a good job of balancing kind of a comedy or cynicism or whatever, a cynical comedic kind of tone with scares. I agree with you that I don't think it's super scary. It's more about, a building of tension. But I think it does a nice job of balancing that stuff and showing you interesting interpersonal stuff and what Jack's behavior means about him as a person, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it does a good job at that. Where it doesn't work, I think, is kind of putting together all the parts, the choices the directors made. I think that my biggest problem with this movie is the behind-the-scenes footage.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's there. I don't think it adds anything, and it strains the credibility of the film. Because back in the day, cameras were huge. In the 70s, cameras were huge. Cameras were expensive. You couldn't just have a bunch of cameras sitting around for you to film behind the scenes. Like the format of it, which they they stay with until the very end is like a 3 or 4 camera setup where the cameras are fixed.
Yep.
And they just move. And then they have somehow this behind the scenes footage, which why would they be filming it? And why would there be 2 extra camera people walking around with giant cameras to film this behind the scenes stuff that they'd never do anything with because it's people talking about their personal lives.
Right.
And when I watched it for a second time, I really felt like they could have gotten rid of those and the movie would have been just as good. It doesn't give anything to the movie, especially because they're talking about the same stuff during the broadcast. I tried to make sure that was the case because I was thinking, is there anything that these behind the scenes shots are giving us? And I really don't think there is.
I feel like the only thing it does is like give maybe a little bit more about the characters and like how Jack, even like when he's not in his sort of like host mentality, is very much like suck it up. Like, I don't give a shit that you feel this way. Like, get out there, put a smile on, and do it. But like, I don't know that adds to the overall story.
Right. I don't think it does, and
I don't think it does either.
It bothers me a little bit because it's supposed to be this lost episode, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It also bothers me at the end that they just completely, when shit hits the fan, who's filming?
Right.
Who's panning the camera?
What are we watching at this point?
Side to side. Nobody.
Yeah.
It don't make no sense.
Right.
And I feel like if you're going to make a movie, a found footage or whatever kind of movie, you've got to stick to those rules that exist within the film. And it doesn't. It didn't bother me as much. Well, the behind the scenes shit bothered me the first time I watched it too.
Sure.
But the ending didn't bother me as much as it did this time. And I agree with you. I think the ending, I just don't think it works. I think that there's some cool imagery. Mm-hmm. But I just don't think it works. And if you're going to make a found footage movie, you've got to answer the why are they still filming question.
Right.
You just have to.
But I mean, like, was this marketed as it, like, was... I mean, even though I know, like, the dump at the beginning kind of, like, gave that impression, but... I don't know, I guess we can talk about it. Like, there's a whole, like, hypnotism sort of spin that happens in the middle that, like, could maybe explain some things, but not totally.
Yeah. Yes. That's possible. We will talk about that. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. But I liked all the performances.
Yeah.
Very much. And I love the idea of the movie. Mm-hmm. So I still give it a 3.5. I still recommend it. But I would also recommend, like, honestly, it doesn't have the clout that this one does, but I think Grave Encounters is a really good found footage.
Grave Encounters is great.
I think it's cool, and I think it's creepier than this. Yeah. And it's lower budget, and it doesn't have the polish, and it doesn't have the performances.
Yep.
But as far as a effective found footage movie that actually abides by the rules of found footage, maybe that one. Mm-hmm. I also, like, Fiction Isn't Real actually commented on our review of Antrim recently, so they must have just watched it. And they were like, I didn't think anyone would ever be fooled by this being a real movie. And then I heard Eddie's review. But I think that one works. And I like the setup of that one, where I feel like if you wanted to flesh this out and make it longer, but take out those behind the scenes, you could have just had interviews with people from current day saying, this is how watching this affected me. Yeah. This is how I remember when this came on. This is how people reacted at the time. Maybe some of the people that survived from the show.
Sure.
I wish they would have done that and had it be more like a 2020 episode, because the beginning of it starts like that.
Yeah.
And then they just end up showing the episode. But I feel like if they would have gone the whole way and made it a documentary, I would have liked that better.
Yeah, I'm with you. I probably would have too.
Ganjiam Haunted Asylum is another good one about ghost hunters and found footage. There was another fake documentary about a killer film and I can't remember what it's called. I don't think it's as successful as Antrim, but I watched it around the same time. But anyway, I still recommend it, but I was kind of disappointed by the choices that the filmmakers made. And they made 2 other horror movies, I think both horror comedies. One called 100 Bloody Acres, which I've heard is pretty good, and then another one called Scare Campaign, which I haven't heard as good of things about. But honestly, it makes me less eager to see another movie that they made because of the choices that they made with this one.
Okay.
Like usually when smaller budget filmmakers end up doing a movie that breaks through like this one did, they get a franchise.
Sure.
Or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I think where their skill is coming up with ideas, a cool idea, and maybe not
so much the movie part, the execution of it.
Right. So seeing them develop somebody else's IP is maybe not something I'm that interested in.
Yeah, fair.
Did you hear about the AI controversy about this?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
It was the cutaways and the we'll be right back network messages. I don't understand why.
I don't know why they did it.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah. It was so unnecessary. Just get an artist to do it.
You don't know any graphic designers?
Right.
We got a graphic designer to do our logo.
Yep,
you just find somebody.
Skeletons, weird ass looking pumpkins.
Right. Just find somebody. I don't know. That seemed weird to me.
Yeah. It seemed unnecessary.
Especially because I think some of their special effects are pretty good. Yeah,
for sure.
So I think they had the money.
It was a weird choice.
I think so too. But that is our spoiler-free review. We both still recommend it, although I think it has some problems. But it's good. It's good, not great.
Good, not great. Yeah.
David Dastmalchian is a star, though, and I hope that he does a lot more horror movies. He did. Are you familiar with the Letterboxd top 4?
No.
On Letterboxd, you have a space on your profile to put your top 4 favorite movies, and so the Letterboxd people do interviews and stuff with actors and filmmakers and other people and ask them their 4 favorite movies. And David Dastmalchian's was really good. Like the first 3 of them, I was like, is this my 4 favorite movies?
Well.
He did the Muppet movie. He did 2001, and he did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, okay. Sure.
The 4th one was Curse of the Werewolf, which I've never seen, so I can't say.
Well, maybe you need to see it.
Maybe I do, because those are 3 of my favorite movies.
Exactly.
But I like the guy. He seems like a cool dude. He's written some articles for Fangoria, even.
And he's doing that show. It's like something, I don't know. He like lays in a casket and does interviews.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
I saw like a clip of him interviewing Mike Flanagan's wife.
Oh, cool.
Okay. So yeah,
Kate
I don't know what that is. Yeah, Kate Siegel. That's right. I couldn't think of her name. But yeah, that seems interesting.
That's very cool.
He just seems to really love the genre, and I appreciate that. So
same. So let's get into some spoilers here. All right, what happens up in here? First of all, Christou dies. He vomits black everywhere, and he dies of a hemorrhage in the ambulance afterwards. We didn't talk about the skeptic. He was kind of based on this guy, James Randi, or The Amazing Randi. He was also kind of based on Orson Welles, because Orson Welles did a bunch of talk shows in the 70s. And was also formerly a magician. And
Orson Welles was?
Yes.
Oh,
and did cold reading, which is very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
But gave up on it when he made somebody cry because he was too good.
Wimp.
So he ends up getting, let's see, the whole thing centers around this cult, the Church of Abraxas, and these people that were all killed, which you learn in the first 5 minutes. These people that all died in like a Waco-style shootout. And they
like burned.
Burned, yeah. People were killed, and then they set the whole place on fire. And there was one survivor, this girl, Lily, who was 10 at the time and is now 13, and could not be any creepier than she is, staring right at the camera and everything.
So good.
Yeah. So the skeptic's got all this money that he wants to offer people for proof of the paranormal. That's what James Randi actually did in real life, never gave the money out. And we see him refute the cold reading before the guy ends up dying. And then Lily comes out with her parapsychologist handler.
June, right?
June, thank you. And they decide, even though June is against it, that they're going to try and contact this demon that's inside of her on the show. And when they do, all hell breaks loose.
Mr. Wiggles.
Mr. Wriggles. She does the cracky poppy, which I also got pissed off about.
Yeah,
the neck cracky sounds.
Yep.
But it's kind of creepy, and she makes the chair levitate, but she can't undo the straps on the chair, which is also interesting. But these are just movie things that happen. So it seems really amazing, but then Carmichael the Great or whatever, the skeptic guy, is like, well, no, I can do something just as cool. Hang on. And so he hypnotizes the guy who's the
like announcer or something.
The announcer / sidekick.
Yeah.
And makes him think that worms are inside of him and makes everyone in the audience believe it. And we even think we're seeing it on camera, but when they run it back, they're not. And that was a really cool scene, I thought.
Loved that scene. I thought that was awesome. It was super creepy, and then even like showing it back, even though it took a long time,
right.
Like you're kind of like, oh, we're seeing this all again. But like that was a very interesting sort of reveal where it's like, oh no, he successfully like hypnotized that person, but also the audience and you as the viewer.
I liked that. I thought that was maybe my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
But then things go crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, because Lily's like, we'll roll back the part of the tape where I was possessed. Like, show that was fake.
Right. And it's not. And they see visions of his wife, which actually they show there are more little bits of her popping up on the telecast. Mm-hmm. There's several times where you can see her. She pops up for a frame or whatever, yeah. But then how does everything go crazy?
It goes crazy, like, once they, like, roll that back and she has them show that footage again.
Is that when did they just start going nuts?
And then it just starts going nuts. She's got this, like, crazy, like, electrical current going through her.
Was your favorite part when her head split?
100%.
Okay, I thought so.
Fucking loved it.
That was really cool.
That looked awesome. It was not anything I've seen before. You expect, like, a possession sort of, like intense demonic possession to look one way because you've seen it that way so many times. But it's hard to this looked like
she was a conduit.
Ethereal. Yeah, like you're a conduit to something. Like it's something very like earthly. Mm-hmm. And there's like electrical current and there's this like vibration going through her and her head is split, but it felt very sci-fi and not so much like you don't see the like weird like skin and like weirdness to the eyes. It just felt like elemental. Like there's a lot of like that to it. And I just thought that was super, super fucking cool to see. And then how she like made the guy, Cal, like the skeptic guy, like he realizes what he's seeing and he's like, oh, shit's real. And he starts praying and she just like makes him like melt. Like his whole body and everything just like melts away.
It was cute too that they telegraphed that at the beginning of the movie when he's about to come out and talk to the medium. He says he's all wax and no wick.
Yep.
And they also telegraphed Gus
it's very
being
cool.
Killed because he says, my wife likes my head the way it sits on my body. And then he gets his head twisted around. Uh-huh. So everyone gets killed. And yet somehow
Except for Jack.
And then we get this weird... And we are also, if you haven't figured out already, we find out that his wife died of lung cancer despite not ever smoking because of the ritual that he performed 7 years previous at the Grove.
Yes.
So we get a thing at the end where he's somehow traveling and
we're like in his mind.
In his mind or something, and we get to see him sit by his wife's bedside. She looks terrible. And she's like, why did you do this to us? Yada, yada. And the knife from the Church of Abraxas is there. And he ends up stabbing her, but it's not her, really.
Right, it's Lily.
Right. So the movie leaves us very unclear as to how much of what we saw was real. Were you thinking that maybe we were all still hypnotized and that's how we could get away with that?
I just think that, like, that was a possibility, that was kind of like an easy out, where it's like, we've already been shown that what we're seeing on screen might not actually be real, and, like, it could be a big trick. So even seeing that stuff, I think that was kind of an easy way to say, well, it might not, like, actually be what you're seeing. Like,
right.
You're just hypnotized into thinking that's what you're seeing.
I didn't like it. I thought it was a cheap way to end. I liked the way that the stuff looked before it, but yeah. I didn't like the. If they had all just died, that would have been better to me than the stuff at the end. I think we were all aware of why his wife died.
Yeah, I think that, like, was a little too hand-holdy, and, like, here's an explanation as to why this happened. I liked the sort of, like, visual harkening back to the Grove stuff, and seeing those, like, we didn't mention it, but they're, like, characters in the audience. Most of the audience is, like, normal folks in normal everyday clothes, but there's, like, speckled in here and there. There are folks who are in, like, costumes. Right,
Halloween costumes.
Yeah, like someone as a skeleton, someone as, like, a Frankenstein monster, a witch, that sort of thing. And you see those, like, once you get in his mind, and he's, like, sort of visualizing the Grove scenario, that sort of thing, and you see them as sort of the audience of the Grove. And I kind of liked that, because it kind of gave the impression that, like, they were in the audience the whole time, just sort of, like, willing all of this to happen and, like, waiting for this to happen. So I liked all that. I didn't hate the, like, switch to what was going on in his mind, and the sort of, like, I don't know, visual descent into, like, whatever it was that happened at the end. But I do think that once his wife came into the picture and there was this sort of explanation as to, well, you made this, you knew there had to be a sacrifice, and that was me, and you need to now, like, end it. And that's like we were there. Like, we understood we got it. That's what was going on. So, like, we didn't need that additional part to it. I didn't hate that sort of switch, even though it didn't follow the sort of found footage rules. I didn't hate that switch to his mindset, because I think, like I was saying, I think that could easily be chalked up to, like, the audience was supposed to be sort of under some, and the viewers watching from home were supposed to be under this sort of, like, hypnotic spell. But I think that took me out of it, where that felt a little too explanatory.
Too pat.
And it felt like they were treating us like we were dumb and we didn't get that already.
Right.
But I didn't hate the very end of it, like, what the final scene was.
I was fine with that. If they would I don't know how they could have conveyed it better, but...
No, I don't either, but I think, like, including that scene with the wife made it... I don't know, it just made it feel very hand-holdy, and, like, we were... None of us were smart enough to have picked up on that. So we needed that, like, additional 5 minutes to explain to us why this happened, why his wife died, like, why we're at this point. And I don't think we did.
Well, you got anything else you want to add about this one?
No, not really. Just that it's pretty much a fun time. I enjoyed it. I'd recommend it, but it wasn't the best. I don't think it lived up to the hype.
I don't think it did either.
I don't think it was scary. I think it had some very cool visuals. And I don't know. I want to see David Dastmalchian in more things.
I can agree with that. So that is what we think about Late Night with the Devil. Let us know what you think. You can get a hold of us on thebloodlust.net. That's our website. You can get a hold of us on Instagram. I just started posting more again, so we're not on X anymore. I just don't go on there.
It.
Yeah. But
fuck it.
We're also on Facebook. So if you're over 60 and you use that, just kidding, I use it. It's fine. I'm also old now.
I don't use pretty much any social media.
No, you can't get a hold of Jamie except through me.
Yeah. You can send me post to my P.O. box. Just kidding.
So we'd love to hear what you thought about it. What did you think about the found footage aspect or the lost episode aspect of it? And the fact that they kind of gave up on it. And anything else you'd like to let us know, please feel free to suggest movies. Speaking of which, I don't remember now who suggested this movie to me. I think it might have been Fiction Isn't Real, but I'm not positive. It is a movie called Frozen, I believe from 2010. I can check real quick. But it's about 3 people that get stuck on a ski lift chair when the park closes. And it was very intense. And I had a very good time watching it. So I do suggest that you watch that. 2010, yeah. 2010, and I watched it, I think, on Prime. Now I've got to look that up.
Something about movies that, like, take place in the bitter cold, like...
So scary to me.
Yeah, they hit differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on Prime. So I would recommend that movie, and thank you.
Well, I may check that out tonight.
I think you should. Thank you for recommending it. I enjoyed it. It also has wolves.
Oh, well.
Yes. In book news, I am just about to finish episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. It's pretty good. It's also about a paranormal TV show. Although this one is like a ghost hunters one. And they go to this house that was the site of a paranormal research foundation from the 70s, and the people disappeared, and that is what the book is about. It's pretty good. I would say it's a very Grave Encounters-y kind of deal, but it's got some interesting House of Leaves type stuff at the end.
Nice.
Solid 3 out of 5 book so far. I only have like 20 pages to go, so I don't think my opinion's likely to change. Would love to have some more book recommendations if y'all have any for me. I mostly read horror. Anything else to add, Jamie?
No.
No.
No, not at all.
All right. Well, for our next movie, we are doing the film Double Blind. It is about people that participate in a research experiment for money. And it is on Prime. So we got something that most of y'all have streaming. So we can watch that and meet back in 2 weeks to talk about it. It is a first-time feature by this filmmaker. So we will see how he is. See if he's any good. And we hope that you'll join us when we do.
Yes.
Yes. Jamie, I hope that you have a lovely rest of your weekend.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And listeners, I hope that you have a lovely 2 weeks. And we do hope that you will give us a rating and a review if you have not done so. And also, if you have friends that like horror and need recommendations, why don't you point them to our podcast? That's a good way to get recommendations. We watch lots of horror movies.
Obviously.
So please do share with your friends and give us a review. And thank you for listening. And Jamie, thank you for recording with me.
Yes.
And until next time, I've been Amy.
I'm Jamie.
Thank you and good night. And hail Ratma.
Yes.